some of these accounts you may or may not know. This is Blerd Without Fear, and he is talking about a man named Comics Explained. And Comics Explained is the biggest comic book YouTuber there is. Anytime you've seen a comic book YouTube where someone is narrating, right, the issue, it is most likely him. You most likely listen to this man's voice without even knowing it, just through the algorithm. He is the biggest guy. He's the Kai Cenat of comic books. Okay, he's that guy. Trust me, as Kendrick Lamar would say, trust me, I'm that guy. He's that guy. Okay, and right now he's getting into a little bit of heat because a lot of people have been calling him a coon. All right, as a black man, I can say that they've been calling him a coon. It's been a little crazy. They're coming at his blackness. And that's something that I will say doesn't really surprise me. He is a creator who does not really focus on, or I'll be honest, not even focus. That's like we can lower the bar. He doesn't even mention like black characters really ever, unless there is something like ultra significant for him to mention them in. And this is kind of stockpiled into a lot of black nerd creators coming at him and calling him a coon. Which I don't think, listen, as a black man who grew up in the suburbs, as a black man who, sounds like this, who can code switch and all that shit and blah, 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 blah. I don't really like when black people come at another black person's blackness. You feel me? I think it can be really, really wrong. It's really grimy. But at the same time, I can get why. He's some dude who never really brings up black people, like I said. And even like his profile picture is a little bit whitewashed. Like it looks like he's a white dude. He's clearly at least mixed. He could be just a mixed dude, or he could be one of those black people who is like, both, like he's just super light skinned, like ish on like Joe Budden podcast or something like that. We don't know. But regardless, he doesn't talk about it. And right now he's having a major beef because Blerd Without Fear, who is another major creator, and seemingly, I guess, a friend of Comics Explained, is now corroborating the story, like saying, like, "Hey, man, you are a coon," like basically. And this whole thing stems from essentially not really the fact that he doesn't cover different black superheroes and stuff, but more or less the fact that he's following certain YouTube channels, Nerdrotic and Critical Drinkers.
Money motivates Rob more than anything else. Let's just keep it a buck. I don't care about any of that. That's actually not why I agreed with the sentiment that he was. He follows very well-known white supremacist Gary. Is it Belcher? I don't know. Maybe he was a Bob Burgers character. I don't know. But otherwise, Gary, aka Nerdrotic, and Will Jordan, aka Critical Drinker, two people who are at the forefront of many of the racist and just outright bigoted across the board. Not even just racist, but like homophobic, transphobic. Really just about any kind of phobic you could add to it that would be just completely ridiculous for a person to feel about another human being. And yeah, he follows them. And when I saw that, that was kind of my canary in the coal mine.
These are two people that I have never really watched. I'll be honest, I've never even heard of them. I know Blerd Without Fear, and I know Comic Storian, RIP. And I know Comics Explained. That's about it for me. I really don't go that deep. But apparently these guys are essentially very, very racist, homophobic, anything problematic, you name it. And Rob follows them. And that is what really got under the skin of this guy, Blerd Without Fear. When it comes to this whole situation, I feel like there's a lot of layers. Him not covering black artists and stuff and like, black entities. I do think he should be covering more, absolutely. But let's be honest, the comic book world is extremely racist. It is. Like, whether or not comics and the writers and artists are racist, the community is. Even if we're going before, like, incel internet culture, like, it always has been. Comic book culture is full of very, very nerdy white guys who are frail, small, anxious, and just like a lot of the black nerds that are in it, they're small, frail, and anxious as well too. But the difference between a black nerd and a white nerd is that society tells the white nerd he should have more regardless of who he is as a human being, right? And so that can turn them to be really rotten when it comes to stuff. And they can be very, very racist when a character of a different color is introduced, or when Comic Explained makes a video about somebody who's black. Case in point, when Comic Explained made a video about Blue Marvel, who's one of the dopest heroes and does not get shine. He got destroyed. He got eaten alive by his audience because he's the most mainstream guy, and his audience, regardless of if he's black or not, are, borderline supremacist guys. Let's be real. People talk about, 4chan guys and Gamergate and all that stuff. Gamers very often read comics, and comics very often play video games. It is a very, very similar world and very, very similar clientele. So it doesn't really surprise me that he doesn't want to interact with a lot of this stuff. That being said, one of the reasons he said that he didn't want to focus on like Milestone Comics and all that was because he didn't know Milestone Comics, and I feel like that's a cop-out. Just learn. You're acting like this is trigonometry or this is rocket science. It's not. It's you're reading a picture book. It's a comic book. What were you talking about? Right? Just learn. Comic Explained, he's just reading a comic to you. You don't need to even know it realistically to do what he does. So the fact that he's using that as a reason, I think, means that he just simply has no interest and doesn't care about those entities, about those properties. And if he has no interest and doesn't care, I guess that's up to him. He's his own man, but you're going to have to deal with a lot of scrutiny because of that. And it doesn't matter what video you make or something online on your YouTube channel to defend yourself. It's just not going to work out. That being said, I feel like a lot of people actually, even though they're mad about that, what they really got mad about was him following Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker, right? And that is something where I will be honest, even as a very staunch leftist and all that stuff, and I'm for everybody being able to do whatever they want with their body and all that stuff, and I'm fully against ICE, everything. I don't necessarily think that makes him bad by association, because there's many ways to follow people. It depends on why he's following them and what he's following them for, right? Like, for instance, I don't necessarily follow bad people, but we all hate watch stuff. Like, let's be real. We all hate watch things, right? I don't necessarily follow people who are fascists, people who are racist, right? But just because I watch people like Hassan Abi and Sam Cedar, these other guys will kind of creep into my algorithm because they're essentially the antithesis of that, right? And it's made by the algorithm to get more engagement. They want you to hate watch it. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes I do. And I feel like that maybe I'm copping out for him. I don't know what his political views are, but it is incredibly possible that he is doing that with these guys as well. And so I think the simple fact of him following them in any way doesn't really mean anything, right? At least not to me. For instance, I follow Pearl, just Pearly things, all the time. I'm not going to join her thing, right? Not at all. I'm not doing that, right? But at the same time, I watch her all the fucking time, and just little videos, because it's like, I don't believe anything she says. I think everything she says is stupid. But sometimes, as someone who has a lot of leftist beliefs, it's interesting to watch somebody be so violently wrong and just lost. There's something about it that is like almost addictive to watch. They're making a fool out of themselves every day for money, sure, and quite a bit of money, but fools out of themselves nonetheless. And they just don't care. And they're kind of just flopping around like a pig in shit. They couldn't be happier. Right, these people, the Nick Fuentes of the world. I don't really watch him, but somebody like her is like a Diet Coke version of a Nick Fuentes type, right? And she's especially interesting to watch because she's a woman who hates women. It's crazy. It also, when you're watching these people, you and stuff like that, you kind of slowly hear little hints of why they became why they are, right? And like who they are as a person, their inner child, what wounded version of them ended up evolving into this, right? And it's usually this person hated their mother and was constantly ridiculed, or is secretly gay. That's usually how it works. But there's so many different things, and it's just fascinating to watch. So when Blerd Without Fear is coming at Nerd Crowding, I don't know if they're just making comic book videos like how Comics Explained is doing, and then just like casually throwing in the N word, because that would be weird, and I would never watch that. But if they're doing like weird live streams where they talk about comics and stuff all the time, and then they just have some sort of bizarre thought processes that are like overly conservative, I'm not going to really watch that. I'm not going to engage in it too often. But every once in a while, after watching Sam Cedar, after watching Hassan, after watching, the Humanist Report, after, reading, the Communist Manifesto for the fucking third time, or Das Kapital or whatever, yeah, I'm going to be like, what is this retarded bitch talking about? I just am. I just am. And, I feel like that needs to be said. I mean, come on. How are you not going to watch this? Racist e-girls love black guys. And she just is talking about how all these like racist girls are snow bunnies. Keep in mind, she's also racist, and she is also a snow bunny. And every time she gets into these battles with these other like super racist girls who are like actually way more racist than her, they'll like make fun of her and try to shut her down or get her ratioed by saying she fucks black guys, right? And then she tries to defend herself and say she doesn't by saying she only fucks Dominicans, which is fucking hysterical to me. Truly hysterical. Shout out to my Dominican brothers, bro. You won the lotto, apparently. But like, I just love it. It's like, this is so ridiculous. These people are ridiculous. And so she's just crashing out about how these white girls fuck black guys all the time. And she ends up basically just like praising black guys and being like, yeah, I mean, white girls, we fuck black guys because like they're awesome and they're cool. And like, she's like, we fuck black guys, we fuck Latin guys because like they just have more sauce. She said black guys especially, but she was like Latin guys as well. Like they just have more sauce, and that cracks me up. This lady's insane.
Their high status, their music. A lot of this is on the dads. You guys put your daughters in basketball, comedy, music. You could have put your daughters on a golf course, but this is kind of on you.
And this is the girl who I believe was playing basketball, and now she's out here getting fucking. It cracks me up. How could you not watch this? I believe none of it, but how could you not watch this? I mean, come on, dude. It's hilarious, dude. It's fucking hilarious. And then, of course, she has her handy dandy coons to come through, right? She has her own Comics Explained to come through and explain why it's so great to date white girls, and they do date black guys, and but even though they're dating black guys, they're slumming it, and no white girls ever dated like a regular black guy with just like a job or whatever. Fun stuff, good stuff, beautiful stuff. I'll be honest, like I understand the whole politics thing and not wanting to follow people and looking at people suspect if they watch certain people, follow certain people. But there is those gray areas. Maybe I'm just cop and please for Comics Explained right now, but I felt I should be honest about that and bring it up. That being said, I do want to check out these guys, because if it's that serious that just by following these people you think that the person following them is some sort of coon, or you are immediately looking at their blackness and like, I don't know if I can co-sign you, these guys must be pretty bad. So I want to see what this guy is. I mean, let's be honest, it can't be that bad, right? It can't be openly that bad. Let's see. Okay. Oh, all right. Let us. Interesting thumbnail. Okay. Oh, all right. Well, that's a black man crying for some weird reason. I didn't realize it was like that. I'll be honest, I can already feel the vibes. I would watch. Should I watch? I feel like, you know what? You know what? No, I'm bowing out. We're we're at almost 2 hours here of this pod. To be real with you, and I might watch this on a live stream once I get my equipment together, or I might put it on the next episode of the podcast. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm after watching Pearl and just dealing with the current state of our country, I am all conservative out, honestly. I'm being real with you. I don't really feel like watching a bunch of gaslighting for 15 minutes and then trying to break it down. They're probably annoying. These guys have a right to most likely be hated on, if I'm being honest with you. And yeah, if you guys feel differently, let me know. Let me know, because in comic book world, I like the comic book entities, but the comic book YouTube world is something that I'm totally new to. So please get in the comments and let me know about the drama and the truth of all this drama, because I need to know. And let me know if you think I should actually come up with my own comic book and anime based YouTube channel as well too, because I've been thinking about doing that. I might read some comics. I might just critique certain runs of stuff for certain writers. I'm not sure where I want to go with it, but I have an amazing idea for the name for the channel, and I also think I could do some good with it. So let me know, but I'm not going to do it unless people want me to do it, because I need outside validation. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. This has been the Late Evening Show. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. I love you. I'll see you next week. Peace.